Hey boys and girls, I wanted to briefly review what we've touched on this first unit over fraction concepts. Some of these are new terms to you and some of them are familiar, but let's just do a quick review and let's talk about unit fraction. A unit fraction is a fraction that always has a numerator of 1. For example, 1/2 is a unit fraction, 1/5 is a unit fraction, 1/45 is a unit fraction because they all have a numerator of 1. We went into the sum of unit fractions. So remember, the word sum means the answer to an addition problem. So if we want to find the sum of unit fractions, that would be 1/4, for example, plus 1/4 plus 1/4. If we add them up, all we're doing is adding our numerators, and we get 3/4. So 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. We also learned how to decompose a proper fraction into a sum of unit fractions. So I know, because of my denominator, that my unit fraction is 1/9. And my numerator tells me that I have 6 unit fractions, 6 1/9ths. So 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9. I'm going to go back and count these. 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 4/9, 5/9. Okay, I need one more to make 6/9. So here we decomposed 6/9 into the sum of unit fractions. Then I want to talk about what is a proper fraction. A proper fraction is when the numerator is less than the denominator. And we can decompose this into the sum of fractions. So I can decompose this as 1/5 plus 2/5, or as a sum of unit fractions, 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. We have a lot more options when we just decompose as a sum of fractions versus a sum of unit fractions. Now let's talk about if we can decompose an improper fraction. An improper fraction is where your numerator is greater than your denominator, which also is called a fraction greater than 1. And I can decompose 5/4 as 4/4 plus 1/4, or 3/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, or 2/4 plus 3/4. And again, we have a lot more flexibility and options the larger our numerator is. We can decompose it in several ways. But notice how our denominator stays the same. Now, let's go and talk about how we can take this improper fraction and turn it into a mixed number. A mixed number is a whole number and a whole number and a fraction, a part of a whole. For example, 1 3/5 is a mixed number because of the whole and the fraction. So let's take 5/4 and let's turn it into a mixed number. So let's start with the whole. Our unit fraction would be 1/4. How many unit fractions does it take to make a whole? It takes 4/4. So we have enough to create one whole. Do we have another 4/4? No, because we only have 5/4. So 4/4 plus how many fourths equals 5/4? 1/4. So I'm going to circle this because it is equivalent to 1 and this is our fractional part, 1/4. And when we add that, we get 1 and 1/4. There is your mixed number. So now you have this down where you can take an improper fraction and turn it into a mixed number. But let's figure out how can we take a mixed number and turn it into an improper fraction. Well, my denominator is 4, so I know that my improper fraction, the denominator, will not change. I have 3 wholes. If I have a denominator of 4, how many unit fractions make a whole? 4/4. How many wholes do we have? We have 3. So that would be 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 4/4. There is our 3 wholes, because this is equivalent to 1 plus 1 plus 1. And what fractional part do we have left over? We have 2/4. So now we just need to do the sum of fractions. So we're going to add up all of our numerators. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So our improper fraction is 14/4. So we know that 3 2/4 is equivalent to 14/4. Thank you.